All set.
All righty, it is now 6:36. The meeting will come to order. Welcome to the January 22nd special meeting of the West Hartford Commission of the Arts. My name is Chuck Corsi, and I'm the chair of the West Hartford Commission of the Arts. The meeting is being conducted in a virtual format in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act as amended by Public Act number 21-2, which authorizes municipalities to conduct public meetings virtually. Members of the public can view the meeting live on West Hartford Community Television at whci.live and youtube.com/@WHCI. The meeting is also being recorded for on-demand viewing and will be available on the town's website. Since we are conducting this meeting in a virtual format, there are some special rules and procedures that I need to cover before we begin. First, I ask all participants to mute your device when you are not speaking. If you wish to be recognized, please raise your hand and I will call on you in the order I see hands raised. If you are participating via audio only, or I do not call on you when the debate is ending, then unmute your phone and let me know so that I can recognize you. Second, all speakers must make a good faith effort to state their name and title at the outset of each occasion that such person participates in the meeting. Third, all votes must be taken by roll call unless the vote is unanimous. Fourth, a reminder that if any participant has a problem with connectivity, you should immediately call David, whose phone number you were provided earlier. He will let me know and we'll recess the meeting while the problem is resolved. If it cannot be resolved, we will ask you to call into the meeting using a phone and participate via audio only. So let's go on to our roll call. Okay, Karen Bachman.
Here.
Matthew Bragg. Not here. Javier Colon. Not here. Chuck Corsi's here. Latanya Farrell.
Here.
Jeannie Kemp.
Here.
Carol McCabe is absent. She told us. Marilla Pinedasor.
Here.
There you go. Susan Rothenberg.
Here.
Absolutely. Diligently taking those minutes. Excellent. So first off, I had sent along the November meeting, the November minutes from our last meeting. Does anybody have any questions, additions, changes to them? If not, is there a motion to approve? I see Latanya. Marilla, you want to second that?
Yes.
Great. All in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by raising your hand or saying aye. Passes
Aye.
6-0. Okay. The old business, our meeting schedule. Did I send you guys the schedule of meetings for the coming? I did, because there are a couple of months. I know next month is also one. We usually meet on the third Monday, but we had to change that one because it falls on President's Day, and I think that's the only one. But that'll be our meeting schedule. Put those in your calendar. We do not have a meeting scheduled for August or December, but if need be, we can always schedule one at that point. Any questions about that? Okay. Seeing none. Yeah, a couple of interesting things. Our Places and Spaces campaign, trying to get more art out into the community. So We Have Fit. I think we talked about that before, right there on Park Road. I don't know if you know Darren Rivera, Latanya. He's a comic, but he performed at Mike Walker's gym on December 28th. Mike has a gym at We Have Fit, the old Degra's salon, and it was a great example of bringing art into kind of an untraditional performance space. It was a great space. They had about 40 people there for the comedy night, to hear the comics. Went very well. Everybody was happy. So we've got that success on our books. Yeah, Latanya.
So where was it advertised and how was it, how was it promoted? Can you tell us a little bit more about the event?
Sure. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It was promoted. Ronnie did something. The chamber promoted it on social media. It was on Friends and Neighbors. It was on the Park Road Facebook page. It was on the town's calendar. Trying to think where else it was on. It was a lot of a word of mouth too. He didn't have room. I mean, he couldn't have fit many more than what he had. But it was, Ronnie did a nice piece on it, and yeah, some of our partners um, also helped get the word out.
And did you say it ended up being December 28th?
Yes, December 28th. We wanted to make sure we didn't want to conflict with anything going on at the Playhouse. Although successful communities can do more than one thing at the same time in the same neighborhood, but we wanted, our first one of our first things out of the box. We wanted to have, didn't want to conflict with Tracy. And actually, Darren has performed at Tracy at the Playhouse many times for their comedy nights. Any other questions? Okay, moving along. I had sent you guys out some information about a proposed poetry event on Park Road as well. So I met with Megan Hayden. She owns Riverbend Books. If you haven't been there, please pay them a visit. It's a great independent bookstore right there on Park Road. She's very engaged in the community. She comes to all the Park Road Association meetings. And, I've been talking to her at these Park Road Association meetings for a while, saying, hey, we got to figure out what we can do to collaborate with the Arts Commission. And she came up, we set a date to meet of last Thursday, thinking we were just going to have a nice discussion. And she came with a full blown proposal, which I think is really cool. We've asked if the library would like to get involved, West Hartford Public Library. The Chamber's on board, and the Park Road Association is also on board. We're looking at doing this in April, 13th, 14th, or the 20th and 21st. I wanted to first, if you guys have had a chance to look at that info, just to make sure that you guys think this is a good idea for us to pursue and help out with. And, just kind of get your thoughts on that. Yes, Latanya.
Yeah, I took a look at it and I was beaming when I saw that. What a great idea. I see that you have Smoke partnered there. I would pull Portobello in there too.
Love Portobello.
That
That's it, a big secret in town.
it's not a secret from here. I try to go in there really almost every other week. It's my first restaurant that I'm eating through the entire menu. And the service, like Seo and his son, they're just beautiful. But he wants to be involved in all things.
Absolutely.
But I know that he's very close with the owner of Smoke. They both frequent each other's restaurants and just and hang with each other. So it's a good time. But what a great idea. I just thought it was such a great idea. And to partner, I don't know, I'm wondering if we could even partner where people might be able to, if they attend one of those events, get a discount at one of the restaurants afterwards, or
Well, one of the ideas that she had is have like a passport card. Whereas if you go to each of the poetry locations, you kind of get a little stamp in your passbook card, and you go to one of the restaurants and, get a free entree or something, but yeah, I think it's great. He's also, who else he's really close with is Nick from Jimmy's Pizza.
Okay. Yes, yes, yes.
And he also owns the laundromat, right?
Laundromat, the
by my house.
laundromat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which does a great job with comforters. I love going there for that.
Yeah.
Hey Chuck, I have a question.
Yes.
I promise I did read it when you first emailed it out, but I can't remember how are we hoping to recruit people to come out and actually read their poetry? Is that going to also be just like all the usual you know sources?
She actually has ideas about who she wants to get. I think we'd also want to.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, she has connections. I'd also want to get West Hartford's poet laureate
Nice.
involved to do one. And that's also one of the reasons, this is not, she's willing to do a lot of the work. And I think a lot of what we would do is help promoting it and marketing it. I'd love to have, a couple of folks from this commission join me on calls with her so that we can kind of, play off the energy and really hit it out of the park. But I think, the library can help with that. She has great connections. She already, I mean, she's definitely somebody we want to, get engaged,
Yeah.
Megan.
The reason I asked that one, so it's exciting because it sounds like she could get some published poets and whatnot. I'm wondering, and again, maybe this is next year or something, not to get too ambitious, but I'm wondering, I think it would be sort of cool to get some students to read poetry. I'm thinking at Hall or Conard, if they have, I know that our kids have, been tasked with doing some poetry stuff, even, I don't know, at some point it'd be sort of cool to have some conversations with some of the English teachers, maybe some of the AP kids, or not even the AP kids, anyone who's really into that.
Yeah.
Then it pulls families in, it's just an opportunity for our students to share some of their work could be cool. But again, just to have that in the back of our head, maybe not this round, because I know it's our first.
Yeah.
But I'm always thinking about how could we, with art, get some of our students to showcase their art,
Absolutely. And we want to get that younger vibe and, get
Yeah,
everyone involved.
just seems like something they'd be into, and they could pull in some of their friends, and again, I don't know. I mean, it takes not a lot of teenagers would want to maybe get up and read their poetry, but maybe some would.
Yeah, no, seriously. On the patio at the Petersons and the playhouse there in front of Smoke or down at
Or
Effie's.
even a middle schooler or an elementary, if there were maybe some poetry contests at some of the schools, and the winners got to, if they wanted to either, get something published in, or put up on weha.com, or even for them to read their poetry, again, just an offshoot of that.
Ginny, these are such great ideas. I think you would be perfect.
Nice. Love it.
Love it. Yeah, Marilla. Thank you, Ginny.
Who should we reach out to in the West Hartford Public Schools to pitch the idea so the students can get involved?
That's a good question.
We have to find the right person to
Idea.
explain how everything works and how is that going to be super beneficial for the students.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Andy or Andy Mayo or?
So I have an idea on that. It would probably be to start with, we can reach out to either one of the principals, but to find out who the department chairs are at each one of the high schools, who's the English department chair. In addition to, I'm thinking about kids that are in the drama club or acting classes as well. They might want to come out and recite a monologue or something like that to engage um, that group of kids. So we just to find out who the department chairs are, and then they can spread the word to the faculty who can then get some kiddos involved if they're interested.
I love that.
I guess
I
it would
love it.
depend too before, you know, because I'm sorry, is it Megan who owns
Yes. Yeah.
Riverbend? Again, it sounds like she already has a lot of structure, created around like, or has a vision. So before, I would think the first step would be to check in with Megan if we wanted to try to pursue this, just to, you know, hear her thoughts and, not recreate the wheel in a way, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, first give
Yeah,
her
no,
some of the feedback of some of the ideas we came up with. How does that fit with her planning or vision, and then go from there? Sort of, I don't know.
so I'm getting the, yes, Marilla.
I was also wondering, how do you feel about um, the children theater companies? Or you know, uh, there might be kids that are very shy, and this is an opportunity for them to try to get some coaching and go in front of people and recite a small. I'm just an idea. It crossed my
Yeah,
mind.
no, I think it is, as a the parent who's spent a lot of time at these, Connecticut Family Theater, for one. Um, I think these are all great ideas, and I think that the best way is for us to get on a call like this with her, and because we need to really start planning this out and assigning tasks and getting it done. Um, I would love for all you guys, if you could join me for that. What I might, if this makes sense to all of you, I would send her an email. I'm going to reach out to her and say, yeah, we're on board. Arts Commission thinks this is great. We want to help, but let's get on a call and kind of, you know, get some deliverables down. You know, what do we need to do? What do we, do we need to get tents? Do we need to do, and I talked to her a little bit about that. Because again, what we don't have is money, but we can figure out, the tents and things. We might be able to do something with the town if that's something, a direction we want to go. But we also, we want to start really promoting this. And the Park Road Association is all over it. They think it's great. It's nice to have, and who knows what it's going to be like the first year. But I like the way, Ginny, you were talking about, if we do this every year, kind of like the parade, at a different time of year. Parade's in the fall, this is in the spring. Um, Hopefully, we don't have the weather challenges that we've had with the parade the last couple of years. But I think it could be a really, fun thing. Does that make sense to everyone? In terms of, hope and try and do it next week. And, why don't, for all of you, I know Latanya, you guys and Marilla, during the days are tough for you, but is there maybe sometime during the day that you can
For
get away?
me, up until 2, it's very feasible. But we might be on opposite
Yeah,
schedules with Latanya. But we'll do what. If I
okay.
know in advance, I can make time.
Yeah, Karen, Sue, what do you guys, what's just in general? I don't want to look at any specific dates, but are there
Yeah,
times I
in
should?
general, my day is totally swamped,
Okay,
unfortunately.
okay, that's fine. Karen?
Depending on the day, I have different things, but
Yeah,
I'm open on a daytime
okay,
schedule.
okay. And Ginny and Latanya, what do you, I know,
I'm
you're
out for
saying,
the daytime,
yeah,
but count me in for legwork and phone call, count me in. This is
yeah,
my
yep,
neighborhood, so
yep.
I would love to be part of anything I can be part of, but during the daytime, any kind of Zooms or things like that, I gotta be on for
Yeah,
kiddos and
yeah,
families at work. So
yeah.
This is definitely my slow time of year, so I'm fairly flexible during the
Great.
day at this point. So,
Okay.
yeah. So let me know. I'd be happy to meet in person or hop on a Zoom or whatever.
Yeah, so
Sounds
maybe
good.
if we can coordinate something that happens before 2 p.m., then I'll be on board too.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. Excellent. 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 I'm excited about this. Okay, let me get rid of
Hey,
that.
Chuck, will you keep us all posted though when
Oh,
you're,
absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, okay.
Absolutely. Okay, so going over to, actually, I have this thing back. Well, it's not really backwards. This is all old and new business. So moving on to new business, collaboration with Bishop's Corner Neighborhood Association and the Senior Center. You might remember back in November, we had Sig and Becky, who's director of the Senior Center. What I've been requesting, same thing with them, that we were all for doing something, collaborating with them. We just need to know what some of the things that they're thinking about. And they wanted to reach out to Roxanne at the Art League and Helen at the town, because the library falls under leisure services, to see what they can and cannot do. Um, they're having a Bishop's Corner Neighborhood Association meeting this coming Thursday. And I'm gonna follow up with them again, because I'd like to be able, like we had with Megan, to give you guys just a kind of an outline first about what they're thinking. So, get some details down. Where do you want to do it? When do you want to do it? What are the responsibilities? What can we do to help? Obviously we've got a lot of energy and we can help. We don't have any money, and that's what I tell everybody. We have no money, but maybe we can help out with some sponsorship opportunities and trying to help them get sponsors. So as soon as I get more information back from Becky and Sig from the Bishop's Corner Association and the Senior Center, I'll let you know. Okay, any questions on that? This next one. Well, Tanya, you know Dylan, right? Dylan Healy. He was probably a couple of years ahead of your son at
At
Hall.
at Hall,
Yeah.
the name, maybe if I saw his face,
Yeah. No,
tell me a little bit about him.
yeah. Well, when you get a chance, check out the links in those two articles I sent on the agenda. He's one. He's the type of. He's a great young man. First of all, and he's a very hard worker. Um, he had a space down in Hartford that artists would come to. He's published some books. He's got his own recording label. But he's looking. We've talked a few times over the last few weeks, and at first I wanted to see, hey, who are you working with in town? Who are some of your friends in town that are, trying to make a go of it, and they're doing, cool stuff. Love to see if there's a way we can get you involved with the Arts Commission. We can learn from you, see what you want. I mean, there, there's a, there's a great energy, and I want to make sure that, we tap into that younger energy. I mean, I've said it before. West Hartford does so many things really good. There's no better place to be a kid and grow up, and there's no better place to be a parent and raise children and retire. But those kind of middle years, right after college, when you're trying to find your way in the world, um, and it's the arts that bring a lot of those people together. And there are a lot of people out there. I've got a couple living in this house, or fortunately not living here physically, but they're trying to make a go at it, and they have such a great insight and energy. But he really wants to figure out a way to create an artist makerspace in West Hartford. And again, we have no money, so he understands that. But just talking to him, and I'm gonna hopefully introduce him to Sherry and the manager to see what might be done. He's done it before, but a place where people could go and record something, and small performances, a small performance space. Nothing like what the theaters that we have, but just a place where the young adults can hang out and kind of collaborate with one another. So more on that to come. I just, he's a real good guy and very bright, very smart artist, and I want to learn more from him about what we can do to help, and hopefully bring him to one of these meetings where you can all meet him. But yeah, I
Is
think
is he an actor, a
Nope.
comedian?
he's a no, he musician, and he has his own recording label. He's actually put together a book of art, visual art, that's gone around. Does a lot of different things. He does them well.
Chuck,
Yes.
And it says that it's also an educator in the West Hartford Public Schools.
What's that?
The article, if I'm not mistaken, was mentioning that he's also an educator in the public schools. That's what I recall, because I
Oh, okay.
clicked on-
That may well be. I don't know if he's 9 to 5, but he might be. That's even better.
Chuck, is there who within the town is responsible for like a town hall for grant writing and things like that? Is there a designated person, or does it depend on, is there anyone whose job it is to, sort of unearth grants for, I'm just thinking of like, different towns, cities or whatever, have artist residency programs and things like, like and I know there are grants like that out there, but is there anyone who is being paid currently by our town to find those sort of grants or write or apply for those sort of grants?
I don't believe so. I'm fairly certain not. I mean, the town gets a lot of grants, but it's not. It's mostly for programs, not necessarily not arts per se, but they're looking for grants to redevelop the old St. Bridget's into the Elmwood Community Center. I mean, trying to get grants from the town, from the state, and possibly even feds. I don't believe, and I'm often wrong, and I could be here, but I don't think there is. There's definitely not someone in town hall that's focusing solely on arts grants. Now, in the schools, there may be people that are doing that for arts grants in the schools, but Playhouse and Park, they're on their own. The Women's Chorale, West Hartford Community Theater, Ballet Theater Company, they're all on their own.
They all
And
write those grants for themselves. Yeah.
yes,
Okay. And all right. I was just curious about that.
but put a pin in that because we're going to get to that in a second, because it's a good segue into the next thing on the agenda. And we can jump into that if, take a look at those articles about Dylan. Yes, Karen.
I didn't actually didn't really see the articles, but now I see them. I'll go back.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
link. You just click on it and it'll take
But
you.
I hit his name and he has a pretty dynamic Facebook page. I didn't listen because he's got his music on it.
Yeah.
But if you look his name up in Facebook, you'll get a gist, I think.
Yeah. There's, it's that missing middle sometimes I think of that what we miss out on in West Hartford in terms of trying to cultivate. We do a great job with the kids when they're in school. No better place to, live, work, and raise a family. But, those 20 to 30s, and they're coming to West Hartford because West Hartford, it's fun. There are a lot of things to do. There's great restaurants. We have, some great arts. We could do much better. And I think one of the ways we do better by engaging folks in that demographic, that age, it just helps West Hartford, I believe, makes us a more welcoming, interesting, dynamic community. So stay tuned to that. Any other questions before we move on to that last item that I wanted to? Okay. So we're a town of West Hartford support. We're coming up on the budget season in the town, and we're not the arts is not specifically in the town budget is not there are groups like the web. I mean, some of our cultural and art venues do get some money from the town. So I don't want to say, but it's not any money is always welcome. I am a big believer. What we don't have though in town, and I've said this, I think we've talked about this before, other towns that really have an active and vibrant arts and culture scene have like someone in town hall whose job it is to support the arts and the marketing of the community in terms of, you know, looking for grants, not necessarily writing the grants, Ginny, but keeping an eye out for grants for groups like, all of your groups and others. I have talked to, our town manager who does, and Sherry, who both, we're so blessed to have both of them at the helm in town, but, kind of trying to encourage them in thinking long term that West Hartford really needs I believe, kind of department leadership in the town hall government that's dedicated to arts, culture, marketing, those sort of things. Because a lot of the things that we've been looking at and asking for, we kind of come up, it's not a priority. And especially when there are limited funds out there, whether it's the signage or the calendars, or marketing events. It's not it's not top of the list, and I think it's our job to help encourage the town to think differently about going in that direction. Not major shifts, but really having somebody in town hall that these organizations can go to when they need help. So what I'm thinking is kind of, I have something that I've put together, because you look at like New Haven or you look at Northampton, Mass, which we're somewhere in the middle there, not just geographically but also size wise, and they both have a very active art scene. And arts is not only good for the spirit of a community, it's also great economic development because, for every buck that somebody spends going to a theater or a concert or an exhibit or whatever, they're going to spend $3 going out and get something to eat or spending it in the community. So it helps the community at large. So I'm working on this, the case for, greater involvement in the arts by town government. And, that's another thing. I'll share with you all, my thoughts, and we can talk about that at our next meeting. And I'd love to get your feedback on some of the things and, kind of how I've laid it out. It's not going to happen quickly. They're not going to change town government just for for arts and culture in 1 year, but it's something that might be part of a gradual change. I talked way too much. Does that make sense? Karen?
Yeah, of course it makes sense. I mean, I think the idea of hiring a person or designating a person to do this, it may be a pipe dream for many years,
Mhm.
but coordinating better, each time somebody runs an event, it's like every organization for itself. If you can find places to put posters up, you use your own social media, you hop onto other people's social media, you get your
Yeah.
patrons to do that. But I still think, and I know we have the calendar now embedded into the sorry, I'm having a brain slip here, into the commission chamber of commerce. I know we have that there, but who goes to the Chamber of Commerce when they're trying to figure out what's
Yeah.
going on this weekend?
Well,
You
it's
know,
it's
that's
it's not through the chamber, it's through Why West Hartford, but the
why West
chamber helps.
Hartford.
Yeah, the
So
chamber
even
helps run that.
marketing that particular site better. When you go on it though, it looks like it's for people who want to move to West Hartford. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the,
yeah. No,
the,
I couldn't agree. I mean, it's
and
great. It's a great resource, but again,
yeah,
you've got these different groups that have different agendas.
but
Um,
it seems a shame that there isn't a way to like capture what does the month of January look like?
yeah,
It's a quiet month. No, it's not really a quiet month. The Playhouse has this opening. There's a
yep.
comedy night here. The ballet's having this event. Um, I don't know. It
No,
seems as if it wouldn't be that hard to figure out how to coordinate that better?
um, yeah, I mean, I mean, a lot of stuff. Government is difficult. It's a
I
very,
know. I know.
it's very, very difficult, and there's lots of priorities, and the town does a great job of, keeping us safe, keeping us I mean, they do a great job. West Hartford, there's no better place, I think, to live. And I don't think, though, the changes that I would like to see them go in the direction, I don't necessarily think it has to mean a new person, hiring somebody new. Like you said, I mean, you've got different departments. A lot of times, if you want to take an event like the holiday stroll that the chamber does, brings in thousands of people into West Hartford Center. It's very successful. But a lot of times you're dealing with multiple departments in town. You're dealing with, physical plant, with the police, with the fire, with the health inspector to make sure, if anybody's cooking anything. Um, and then, promotions. A- And unless you're somebody that's been doing this for a while and knows everyone, it can be daunting. Whereas if you kind of had that ombuds person in town hall, that, one-stop shopping, I think that would be helpful. So let me do this. Let me take a crack at it, and we can have a further dialogue about it at the next meeting. And then, depending on how people feel about it, I'd like a few of us, all of us or whatever, just to go in and have a nice friendly conversation with folks in town hall and say, look, this is where your arts commission, this is where we think the town can be most helpful.
Chuck, I know a few years back, in fact, I think this Arts Commission was resurrected after COVID and kind of the fall of the mayor's charity ball, and there was a discussion about what might replace it. And then the mayor was fairly keen on resurrecting the Arts Commission. Did
Yeah,
you
what
get
was
a
her idea?
sense? Right. Did you get a sense of what she hoped would happen from it?
It Cherry is very committed to the arts.
Yeah, I know. She
Yeah, very,
supports them.
very
She's
committed to the
she's
arts.
there
Yes.
at a lot of events. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, it's, I think it's up to us. It's not up to her. It's up to us to go back to them and
So
tell them.
nobody had an idea or a vision about why we should resurrect an arts commission.
No, I think that it made sense. It was a step in the right direction. Um, yeah, I think, for the exact reason why we're here, we West Hartford has a great art scenes, but we can do better, and we must try and do better and try and reach more people and help more people. Um, and I think part of that, our mission is also to tell them what they can do as our bosses, more or less. Real, I see you got your
Yes, I was wondering if we could go and look at this from a different angle, if we can reach out to artists and just have a conversation, invite them somehow to, for a meet and say, hey, what would you like? What are your needs?
Mhm.
What would you like us to offer more support? Because, we have the platform and, we don't necessarily need money, but if they would know that there is something that, they can benefit, then they will associate more with us. They will come more. They'll see, hey, these people really are interested in helping out. Why don't I knock at the door and see what they can do for me?
Yeah.
That's perhaps worth exploring a little bit. Just send out a message. Hey, we would like to hear from you. Even it might be I don't know, a meet in person, which I would prefer. I would really like to shake hands and meet
Yeah,
people and
I agree. What do you,
create that connection.
we'll say that I totally agree, and I'm kind of the opinion I'd like to get back in person with everyone at some point. But we can talk about that next month. But what to your point, Marilla, though, about asking artists,
Our
what if
community.
we made a conscientious effort to try at every meeting to invite someone to come to our meeting and give them 15 minutes? Not, telling them we're not Santa. We can't,
Yeah.
give dreams, but, we want to know, what's going on. What do you need to succeed? What are some of the things? I think that's a great idea.
Also, or to perhaps make it into a campaign to put it on Facebook, because it's it's
Okay.
free, and it's not going to cost us anything. We would like to hear from you. A sustained effort to reach them and have them come towards us. And
I like that. Okay. Yeah, I like that a lot. Any other thoughts on this? If it's all right with you, Marilla, I think I might for our, and I think it's nothing's ever easy. I mean, and we're all volunteers and we all have our other jobs, but I think we could put together a pretty good, outreach campaign, with some media and social media and kind of highlighting it, just letting people know, here's our meeting schedule. This is when we meet. We'd love to hear from people and maybe even get if you want to take a shot at like some bullets about we want to know, how the Arts Commission can help. What's your biggest challenge? What would you like to see happen in the arts community in West Hartford? That sort of thing. And we can get an article and then get that around to some of the different sites.
all right, well, I can do that. I can
Excellent.
pencil something in.
Okay. Any other thoughts on how we can help our friends at Town Hall? Help us help the arts and
I was
culture
just
community?
looking while you were talking, I was listening, but I was looking at the town of West Hartford's Facebook.
Yep.
and what they use it for. I don't know, there might be a way to coordinate something with the arts with that Facebook. Maybe if it came through this arts commission, not through each individual. You don't want to bombard them, with posts, but take a look
Mhm.
at it. Maybe
Oh
it's
yeah,
worth
no, I
exploring.
look at it every day.
I know
There's
you do, yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff on there. I mean, Renee
yeah,
McHugh
yeah.
does a fantastic job. She's the public information officer for the town
Is
of
that
Milton.
Renee?
Yeah,
Renee?
Renee. She does a great job.
Mhm.
But there's so much. I mean, there's so much that
Like the library there's something here. It's no from November. Oh, actually, it's from November 2023. But oh no, that was right. Yeah, that was last
yeah,
year. Okay. It was their banners created by patrons, artists. They're not like created by kids. That feature artwork highlighting the town's unique character. Now, what if there was a library sponsored something featuring the unique arts environment, or I don't know. When I see that, I
yeah,
think, oh, that's interesting because it's artistic. It includes the arts, but it's talking about the character of West Hartford. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah,
it's a thought.
yep. Excellent. Excellent. Okay.
Oh, and they're going to display it on the decorative light poles along South Main Street, which is one of the things we talked about a long time ago about, having different arts organizations displayed at least 1 month anyway, maybe a month dedicated to the arts. This is Arts Month in West Hartford, or Arts and Culture Month,
Mhm.
because we could all come up with banners or flags. Anyway, okay.
Yeah. Marilla?
And
Thanks,
speaking of,
Karen.
yeah, speaking of banners, are there any developments regarding those Main Street big banners in the biggest intersection?
You know, that's one of my, you know, I th- we I think the town needs to do a better job of helping to promote events. It's like the Hunger Games, trying to get one of those banners sometimes, you know? You gotta get there early, and they're all very deserving, but for every banner you see up there, there's probably 10 that really need it. And we had that
You have to sign up more about a year in advance,
yeah,
especially certain seasons.
yeah, yeah. But again, and a lot of times it falls on people that, it's not top of their priority list. They're doing other things. But no, and there's small changes. If there was a way to, because each department has some folks that interact with the arts and culture community. But well, let me take a crack at doing like a one pager for you guys to take a look at to start the conversation and get your input on. But I've been taking notes too as we've been talking, and this is really helpful. Any other thoughts or suggestions on that, or anything else? Yes, Jenny. You're on mute, Jenny.
Thanks.
Sorry.
You sort of made reference to this, Chuck, but I hate to even bring it up because a part of me probably wouldn't want to do this, but getting back to, I'm wondering if there's any way we could at least occasionally meet in person.
Yeah,
I know we're all so crazed, but at least for me, I hate Zoom so much. I'm
me
just
too.
like a different person when I'm when I'm with people. I don't feel like I get to know people over Zoom. And I just think in terms of my own thinking and creativity and stuff, I feel a little more stilted on Zoom calls. At the same time, I get the whole modern living thing, and it's so nice after working all day or whatever, or running around all day, to be able to just get on Zoom versus going to another meeting. But I don't know, maybe we could come up with a couple times a year or something meeting in person. I just think it creates a different kind of energy, but that's
I-
just
I
my thought.
totally agree. Yeah. What does everybody else think? Karen, what do you think about meeting in person?
Me?
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's a nice thing to do. On the other hand, if you are traveling or if you've already had 6 meetings that week, it's much easier to do it from your home. I think though we could do it like twice a year. I mean, especially in good weather, you know? And when it's not so dark and cold. And then go back to Zoom for the other meetings. I mean, if we plan it ahead and everybody plans to,
Yeah.
reserve that time to be there,
Yeah.
seems like it's a good thing to do. I mean, I'm not against it at all. It is much more convenient. The other thing is about the time. 6:30 is a weird time in terms of eating dinner, and go to a meeting. You can figure it out when you're at home. You can wolf down something before, or you can go downstairs and eat whatever was on the stove. So maybe we shift the date. We shift the time a half an hour. That's all.
Sue, what do you think?
Yeah, I love that idea. I mean, I definitely agree with Jenny. I'm more energy when I'm at a meeting in person. Maybe better ideas or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think if we did it a couple times a year, that's a good compromise. We can set aside that time to make the drive in and yeah, that sounds good.
What about you, Marilla? What do you think?
I agree with everyone. It's that does not compare to Zoom, meet in person. I'm just thinking, for example, for Javier. Javier might be traveling, he might be able to connect. How about, keeping our options open? And even if, let's say, we meet in person, those of us who have other commitments or would like to Zoom can't they? I mean, what do you think about that? Because, I would hate to know that Javier could connect, yet we're meeting in person and otherwise he would have to miss.
Yep.
Make sense?
Yep. What do you think, Lasagna?
I see both sides. Ginny, I get it. Like Ginny and I have sat together in meetings
Yeah.
outside and it's like, and the ideas just flow and the energy is totally there. So I get it. And I'm a very interpersonal person, but Karen, I hear you. Like when I'm coming home from, principaling all day long, and if I have a meeting that runs late, or if the buses, the parents don't pick up kiddos quickly enough for after school programs, I'm rushing in to grab something to eat here and sit down. So it's a,
Yeah.
so I see both sides.
Yeah, I mean, COVID made me lazy because you can do everything on Zoom, but I need to be just myself. I need that connection. I need to be with people. And what if we, looked at doing something where, April, May, June, July, we go in person. And, it's nice, it's sunny, maybe we'll even get out before it gets dark. Maybe, we do September to, depending on, I'll tell you, I'm not disappointed that I'm not driving tonight. Like in the summer, in the winter, January, February, March, that gets a little, but just to give it a try, I think it's a good idea. Maybe what I'll do, for those that, for Carol and Hav and Matt who weren't here, we can start a little email chain around. We're not talking about anything urgent. It's more administrative meeting schedules, but see if that might work for everybody. Because I do. I miss seeing all you guys, and I have maybe we're kind of, dragging before the meeting, but, after spending an hour or so with you guys afterwards, I think we all leave happier and more invigorated and ready to do great things. Does that make sense?
Yep.
What do you, I didn't ask for your opinion, Ginny, because you had already brought up the thing. But do you think that would be
Yeah, no, I mean, again, it's, I totally get in, Latanya, what you're saying. You're in my schedule is more flexible, so I want to also respect people who have less flexibility with that. And I know when during my busy seasons, it's like you're just like barely coming up for air. And so I mean, even if we just start, maybe we schedule or we do yeah, like we're it could be a seasonal thing or whatever. So yeah, I mean, that sounds good. I'd like to experiment with it a little bit. I mean, I came on board during COVID, so I know I've met you all, but really, I mean, maybe just that for that tour of town hall. So, yeah, it'd be nice. I just feel like you get to know people better. I get both sides, but I'd like to give it a try, at least here and there. Maybe not every meeting, but
Let me do that. I'll send an email around looking at maybe April, May, June, July. And don't worry, David, I'll talk to the powers that be to make sure that we, if we have to change things around or do whatever, we'll make sure it works for the town too.
Yeah, doesn't some of it depend on space availability too
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
town hall?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Just a question, if let's say that we would entertain the idea of a hybrid, so we all meet in person, but two people, would they be able to connect remotely? That's another question for David to, and you to perhaps think about, because David will have to be probably involved in some capacity, right?
Yeah, hybrid meetings, I've tried to run a couple of those. Not this group, but hybrid is really distracting and it's not productive at all because you spend a lot of time dealing with different AV things. If you can make it, you come. If you have a conflict, you can't make it. But I would hate to see us, try and get into a hybrid model because then it doesn't get us out. A lot of people, it'll be easier to default to that hybrid. Um,
Well, if we had specific meetings assigned for in-person and we ran the hybrid for that, and the other meetings were Zoom and it's not a hybrid, it's just Zoom. So I
I-
think you can work a hybrid if you have a better mic system. Like David would probably know more about this, but problem with a hybrid is that you have to keep moving the mic around so people, whatever computer you're using, so that people can hear the speaker, people on the
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah,
And then that's distracting for them. And so I think it's doable. You just have to have, like you say, the right equipment. It's not that, but I agree with you that you don't want people to not be able to come. It's a known group. It's not like just anybody's coming. It's a group who has worked together and all of that. So
it's hybrid meetings. I mean, we can look at anything, and again, it depends on what the town's set up. But I find hybrid meetings in my work and other stuff I volunteer on, they're just really clunky, and people end up being really frustrated. Both the people that are there, they're frustrated with the people that are calling in and they can't hear them right, and the people that are home can't hear the other people because it changes the vibe. But that's just how I feel. And there's always hey, if somebody can't make it, and we take out the iPhone, put it in the middle of the table, and they can call in. I'd rather, I'm all for doing something like that. Those people, it's not like we're ever voting on anything other than the minutes or whatever that, require someone to be there. But I think if we're going to go in person, let's, for some meetings, let's do it. Because it doesn't work if only 3 people show up and 3 people do, phone it in. That's just weird. That's not a directive. Just something to think about. So we can have this conversation. I'll shoot out an email and encourage people's thoughts on that. And then we'll come to a final decision at the next meeting. His next meeting is February. We're probably not wanting to go out. We don't want to have our first meeting in a snowstorm in person. Okay, anything else for the good of the group? I really appreciate you guys all coming and being here tonight. I really do. Got some fun stuff coming up. All righty. Is there a motion to adjourn? How about Karen makes the motion, Marilla seconds. All in favor? Aye, unanimous. Great. Thank you all very much. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye. Okay,
Have a
have
good
a nice.
month.
You
Bye,
too.
everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.